Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all about makeup brushes, and I'm going to be showing you some of the ones that I love, different shapes, kind of what the purpose is of the different shapes, why you need them, things that they're useful for, just kind of lots of details about makeup brushes. So if you're interested in seeing this video, then please just stay tuned. Okay, so first I want to talk about eye brushes. A couple brushes that you should have really as staple brushes in your collection is some really great blending brushes. Now my absolute favorite is the Sigma Tapered Blending E35 brush, and it looks like this. And as you'll see, like, it's really fluffy, big and round. And this, honestly, I don't even think I can do a look without these anymore. I use these every single day. This is what I use, like, very first off with a transition color. And I just go and I blend this out in my crease. You can use this to blend out just anything. These are such great blending brushes. And these, honestly, you will use these every day. I've got multiples of these. Can't live without these. So again, these are the Sigma Tapered Blending E35. So anything that's big and fluffy and round will work really great for a good blending brush. These are just kind of my personal favorites. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to recommend is you're going to want to have for doing your eyes something that's a little bit smaller that can really do some detail work. So whether that's like in your crease or your outer corner, just something smaller than a blending brush. And some that I recommend is, this is one by e.l.f. And this is, it's a little bit stiffer. It's not quite so fluffy. I'll show it compared to this one. And do you see how much smaller it is? So it's really, really little, and that's a really great kind of detailing brush. And again, you can just really like place some color in your outer corner. You can get it right in your crease, just kind of really concentrated where you want that color to be. And then after you do that, then you can go in with your blending brush and just kind of blend it out, but like a really small detailing brush. Another example is I've got this one. This is kind of the same thing. This one I actually picked up from like Michael's, which is from a craft store, which is actually a really funny place, but you can get some ideas and, you know, try out some different shapes and things for a really affordable price by looking at their paintbrushes, those kind of places. So that's where I got this red one that I love, and it works really good for like under the lash line, again, just right in that crease. Another example of something like this is, I think this is by Makeup Geek, but it's just like a little pencil brush. Looks like this. Makeup Geek is an online brand. Anyway, so that's a really great option to have something like this in your collection, just to really get some of that nice detailing work. You can really, like, you can carve out a crease, or just there's a lot of different things that you can do with those small brushes on your eyes. Oh, one I forgot to mention that's just kind of good, I think it's like $1 too, is this e.l.f. What's this one called? This is e.l.f. Professional Blending Eye Brush. And it looks like this. It's just kind of a fluffy round one. That's a really great price. So this is a really good one that I've used for a long time. And just, again, like, perfect for blending out things in your crease. Just kind of getting anything blended out. It's a really good option. It's really, really affordable. I have so many of these. I just pick them up all the time. You can never really have too many makeup brushes, honestly. But these are just kind of some staple ones that I love. Okay, another kind that would be a good option to have in your kit is a really flat and stiff brush. So something like this. So see, from the side, it's just really thin, really packed tight. Here's another example of one. I think these are basically the same. Anyways, these are really great for packing color onto your eyelid. So a really fun thing to do is to dip this into like a silver or a really sparkly, highly pigmented, sparkly shadow. Kind of build some product up on this, and then spray this with some sort of a liquid, whether that is MAC Fix Plus or water or eye drops or a finishing, like a setting spray, just whatever you have, honestly. And then you can just pack that right onto your eyelid, and it'll just make the shadow pop so much. And it's going to work so much better if you use it with a brush like this. If you try to do something like that with a blending brush, it's just going to get everywhere. You're going to have tons of fallout. So I would suggest a brush like this for kind of packing color onto your eyelid. Okay, and then another brush I would recommend for your eye area is something like this. This is kind of another example of just like a really small stiff brush, really similar to the last thing, but this one you'll want it really little so that you can highlight your brow bone. Just get right under there really kind of precisely, and just get right under your brow bone. So, and this is actually one I picked up, I think, from Essence. I want to say that's carried at, I think that's carried at CVS, maybe Walgreens. I can't remember. One of the drugstores, but anyways, this is like a double-ended thing. And it's just kind of an example. Like, you can find brushes, really quality brushes, a lot of different places. But I love this size just because it's teeny and it's flat. and dense, and it just like highlights just perfectly. I really love the way that it highlights my brow bone. And then the last type of brush that I would suggest for having in your collection is something for your under eye area. This is one by e.l.f. This one is called a smudge brush, and it looks like this. And again, it's like, this isn't necessarily a blending brush, it's kind of more of a packing color on, but this one just fits so nicely that you can just get right up under that lash line and just smudge out, you know, pretty bronze or something like that, and it'll just add so much to your eyes. Another one, it looks like this. It's just really nice to have some really kind of small detailing brush options in your kit. They'll just make your life easier. You'll spend a lot less time blending if you have some smaller options. So those are the different types of brushes that I recommend for your eyes. So if I like really had to narrow it down and I had to bring, you know, super limited amount of brushes or traveling or something, like these are probably the 4 that I would bring. This is kind of just like one from each category. It's like a big fluffy blending brush, one that can really kind of put colors into the crease, a nice like smudging brush, and then something that can pack on color, so like a flat thing like that. So honestly, you can get so many different looks out of having even just like 4 brushes that are similar to these. So that's kind of, hopefully that gives you an idea of what would be good to kind of build up your brush inventory. Okay, next moving on to the face. I like to use a sponge for my foundation, but some people like to use a brush. It's just really a preference thing. Sometimes I like to do both. I like to go in with a brush first sometimes, and then always finish with a sponge. That's kind of my big thing, is always finish with a sponge. That's how you'll get kind of the most like airbrushed, flawless finish. A really affordable foundation brush that I highly recommend though is this one by e.l.f. And this is only $6, and this is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Let me see. Yes, the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, and it's such a nice one for stippling on your foundation, so I really love this. Again, it's $6 and it's really great quality, so that's definitely one worth checking out if you are looking for a foundation brush. Okay, so next would be something for kind of setting your concealer. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. I've showed a bunch of different ways on my channel, but sometimes I just like to use my sponge and just pat that powder right on and set my under eye concealer, or sometimes I do use a brush to set my under eye concealer. A few different brushes that I like is this e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush, and it's just like a really small sized face brush. So you can dip this into a really light powder and just really get right up under your eyes. And just set that concealer really nicely. I love using this. Another example is the e.l.f. Blush Brush. This one's a little bit bigger, so you can just kind of do that same thing. You can just pack some powder or whatever right underneath your eyes, and that'll just set your concealer really nicely. So these are both really great and affordable options. Okay, next I would recommend having a brush for your powder, and this is really great to have anyways, just kind of for like blending out everything at the end. So I really love this one by Icing. This is a Kabuki brush. This is the Expert Kabuki from Icing. And it looks like this. It's just massive, and I love setting my whole entire face with powder using this. So you can, I mean, it just covers so much ground so quickly. But then also this is great to have for like after you have put on your contour and your blush, just to kind of go back over everything just to make sure everything is really seamless and blended out. It's just really great to have some sort of a Kabuki brush on hand. I love, love, love this one. It's I've used it forever and it's still in really great condition. Okay, next would be blushes and bronzers. So I really love a brush like this for doing bronzer. It's just like a really fluffy, and it has an angle, so it's kind of a fluffy angled brush, and I love just kind of setting it that way, and it just kind of fills in those like contours of your face, and it just kind of sits perfectly how you need it to sit. So I love something like this. I know that e.l.f. makes some. I think this is one that I got off of Amazon. There's a ton of really affordable, great brush sets on Amazon. I will try and link some below that I maybe have used in the past, or like that have some type of brushes that I would recommend. But these are super easy to find. I mean, these are everywhere. You can find these at like the drugstore, Walmart, Sephora, just really anywhere that has makeup usually sells some sort of a brush like this, or these are really easy to find in brush kits places. So just having this for your bronzer and kind of contour, these are really great for blush too. So this is just a really like multi-use type of brush. For blush, that's a really like, I find that that's a really personal preference thing on what people like to apply their blush with brush wise. So anyway, some that I have loved and like that I've used is this one by Icing. This is the Expert Powder Brush. And I used to always use that for my blush. Another one that I'm using more recently is this one. I think this is by NARS. This one's a little bit pricier, but it's just really soft and just kind of perfectly just blends out things on your cheekbone. Okay, another one I want to mention, and this is one I cannot get away from using as much as I would like to. This is the NARS Ita brush. It's really pricey, but it has just made the world of difference in contouring. I absolutely love this brush. And this is so perfect because you can just sit it right in your contour line that way, but then you can just flip it that way to really kind of blend things up and outwards, and it just creates this like perfectly contoured but still blended line. So this is just one of my all-time favorites, so I had to include it in here. I know it's pricey. You know, message me for, I'll try and give you some cheaper alternatives. Just message me if you want to know kind of some other options for this. But I really love this brush. This is also great for getting along like the sides of your nose if you like to contour, right under your chin and your jawline. It goes just right around the kind of just all the areas you want to contour. This will have you covered. Okay, and then last but not least is a highlighting brush. This is one that I found in Michael's or maybe Joann's, one of those type of stores, a craft store. The shape I think is called the oval mop shape, but it's just like a small looking face brush. It kind of is similar to like one of these e.l.f. brushes I showed you, but a lot smaller. And I love this for highlighting. It just kind of hits the tops of your cheekbones just really perfectly, or you can hit right down your nose, right above your lips. Just kind of a smaller face brush is really convenient to have. Another similar one that I already talked about was the smaller e.l.f. brush. This would be a really great highlighting brush also. It's just nice to have like a smaller option for your face for kind of some of those detailing steps. Oh, one that I forgot I was going to mention is this one. I think this is by Real Techniques. I love this brush. This is really great for like body purposes. So if you're like going all the way down your neck with some bronzer or kind of along your décolleté area, or you know, your legs or arms or just whatever, if you want to give something a shimmery bronze, this will cover so much ground so quickly. I love this. It's also really great if you just kind of wanted to like give a really quick application of bronzer. You can just kind of go everywhere with it, and it just is so soft and nice that it just like perfectly will kind of blend out whatever you're doing with this. So this is another one that I would recommend, and it's really affordable also. Okay, so those are some of my favorite brush options. I try to keep a lot of them really affordable, or at least just give you some ideas of things to look for, how to get a really great kind of brush collection, how to get your kit going, and things that I would just highly recommend. So I hope you have enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!